That's $10,000, Connor. Ha ha! Yeah! 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 This show is not for sharpshooters. This show is a fucking machine gun. There's no chewy center to this show. It's all hard candy. This show is not a sniper on a fucking roof. This show is a drone taking out a village. Do not invite me into your house because I will come in and I will wreak fucking havoc. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Hey, this is take two, I've been told. My producer is now a director. She actually holds one of those little clapper boards. Like, she gets up and stands in front of me and just did that, like, there, take two. And then she has to hit a button, and then I wind up talking, and it gets recorded, and it gets brought to you. Folks, that's how entertainment is produced. I don't know if you're aware of that. No earbuds today, folks. A little freaked out, a little weird, hearing myself in the ether without hearing it directly into my ears. And I don't like that. You know that. I'm not a fan of that. I like hearing myself blasted right into my head. I like my head to be just like, I vomit what I do into the microphone, right into the earbuds, back into my head. And it keeps me thinking, and it keeps the wheel turning, keeps the hamster alive, folks. Is it a hamster in a wheel, right? Isn't that what it is? Or what is it, a mouse? A mole? Who's in a wheel? I don't know, a cat? Holy shit, how big's your house? I got a giraffe in a wheel. I got a giraffe in a wheel at my zoo. That would make the zoo so much better. What if every animal had a fucking wheel? Look, I'm improving zoos. Already, we're a minute in and I'm improving zoos. Hey, zoos, get on board with me, goddammit. I don't know if you heard about me and Lily. We bought a zoo. It seemed like a good idea at the time. No, probably was not. Did you know you have to feed those animals? Ridiculous. They're wild animals. Why can't they catch all these many squirrels that are running to and fro? I've done that, by the way. Well, I haven't eaten a squirrel. That seems weird. I didn't do that. What I was going to say was I've been to many zoos. I think the zoos, and I think I've talked about this on here before. I think the zoo is an ideal place for a first date. Have I mentioned that to you folks? If I have not, take that and run with it. You're making a squishy face there, Lily Van Stup. You have a question about that?
Why is that a good first date?
Because you go out all day and you spend all day together. Because at night, look, we go to a movie, you don't really learn much about one another. And very rarely can you slide your hand into the other person's crotch without getting yelled at. At the zoo, however, you can do that all the time. Hold on a second. Wait, I got to rethink this strategy. Boy, you have no idea what I've done at the zoo. It is so easy to get laid. Slide into the monkey house.
Wow.
Just work some girl. No, man, it's like fun because it's already a couple's activity without you being a couple. So you can kind of see if you're compatible as a couple while you're in the zoo and learning about one another and having a good time. You got a built-in place to have some lunch. You get to look at bonobos and think that they're cute, and have a great time. Bonobos are animals, right? I may have just made that up. Could be a pastry. I have no idea. It was stuck in my head. I didn't. You know what's funny? I did not want to say like a legitimate animal, like a real. I didn't want to say monkeys because everybody would say monkeys. I wanted to go deep, so I went with bonobo. But I think a bonobo is like a baboon with a fucked up nose, like a mandrill, right? Am I right?
Wow, you're dropping animals left.
Look, folks. Hey, I've had a lot of dates. That's how you impress a girl on a date. You're like, hey, let's go check out the bonobos. And then she's like, excuse me, you'll be keeping your pants on this entire afternoon, sir. And then we squirt seltzer in each other's face and we get in our fucking double-decker bus and drive back to the 20s. Are you fucking kidding? Oh, Christ. Me and the rest of the little rascals get on the bus and go home. Yeah, but the zoo's a good place for that. So what I was going to say is I've been to the zoo many times. I haven't been to the zoo in a long time, though. I'd like to go to a zoo now. We almost went in last week in Detroit or 2 weeks ago because we had nothing to do. Literally, we had nothing to do. And it was Jill and Deb, who I've mentioned on this show before. I think I may have mentioned them before. 2 weeks ago, we were I was in Sterling Heights, and we were trying to find something to do. I got showered and dressed. I had to meet them in the lobby. And I came down. There's something else I got to tell you about Detroit, too. Remind me. But they wanted to meet me. Like, you don't care. Your back hurts. Literally, I'm sitting here with poor Lily, and I've been sitting here gabbing away for like 2 hours talking to her, and then finally I go, hey, we already started the show. She goes, I don't know. My back is killing me. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, I can't sit in one place for more than an hour. I'm like, oh, holy shit. Why don't you tell me this so I don't gab your ear for 2 hours? Let's record this gold. I'll sit down and we'll start talking and recording right away, and then I can get the fuck out of here and you can lay flat and fix your back. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. Then she grimaces, and I'm like, oh, dude, I feel awful. So if you hear moaning in the background, it's nothing good. which is, believe me, that's a first for this show. Because normally when there's moaning in the background, oh, I don't know if you know this, I actually I hired girls, and there's guys having sex with groupies here in the studio while we record. I'm like Motley Crue in Too Fast for Love. I'm like Guns N' Roses in which song is that? Is it Rocket Queen? Yeah, it's Rocket Queen where he fucked the girl during the song. Actually fucked a girl during the song. And again, who knows? That's all could be mythical bullshit. But in their autobiography, it was in there too. Axl fucked a girl during Rocket Queen, and that's the recording you can hear. You can hear the music, yeah, or you can hear the moans and stuff. And it was a girl who used to hang out with them all the time, like some groupie chick. And then he brought her in and he fucked her, and they recorded it and put it in the mix of Rocket Queen. It was you? It was Lily Von Stupp. Back in the old days when she was Lily Van Stupp. She changed her name, folks. I don't know if you're aware of that. Her birth name was Lily Van Stupp, but she said, you know what, I'm going to change it. Which is good for her. But also Motley Crue, they did that. I remember when I was a kid, that was the big thing, is Motley Crue's debut album came out, and their whole thing was, we're the raunchiest dudes in the business. I don't know if they said it like that, but they were just like, we're fucking horrible. And one of their things was they fucked girls during Too Fast for Love, and Nikki Sixx actually said, you can hear squishing sounds if you put your headphones on, and you can hear that, and that's us fucking. And it made me laugh, because even as a kid, I went, wait a second. I don't know how much you pay your sound engineer, but to pick up squishing sounds, he's got to get really close with the microphone. I mean, I understand if you're fucking a girl and she's like going and having a good time and you're like, yay, this is fun. You get moans or you get screams or you get, oh, Nikki, whatever the fuck, you record that, that's fine. Squishing sounds, maybe less a sound engineer than a gynecologist is who you want to hire to record that, Nikki. Unless you're fucking some gigantic vagina, which I can't even imagine at this point. You know who's got a gigantic vagina? Bonobos. Oh, my God. That is uncomfortable on your first date in the zoo when you see a bonobo vagina. Holy shit. It opens up like a Stargate, and fucking people wander out of it. From planet Bonobo. They'd been transported earlier because they had wandered into the bonobo's vagina, which is like a Stargate. Last time that's actually why I haven't taken a date to the zoo in quite a while. I saw a bonobo vagina, and Kurt Russell came out and shot my date in the chest. It is true. What do you mean you don't think that's true? How dare you doubt me, Lily Van? That's right. I use your original name. I scold you now if you don't believe me that a bonobo's vagina is like a Stargate, and the last time I was at the zoo, my date was shot dead by Kurt Russell when he crawled out of it. How could you question that? You know it's true. Holy shit. All right. But yeah, the zoo is a great place for a first date. So we almost went to the zoo when I was in Detroit. Like, I come down to the lobby, and there's Deb and Jill, and Deb is drinking 4 beers already, somehow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. She got a heat on. That's what she did. But I'm not going to say that anymore. Why should I do that? I did not hear from her. I heard from my favorite. Here's my favorite thing about last week. Mex did the artwork, which is the cat fight, and then I'm in the foreground, just like scratched up and dead. And I put that on in the middle of the night usually when last week I fell asleep for some reason. I didn't even talk to you. You put the episode up without me, and I fell asleep on a chair in my house. And I got up, and so I had to go to my Facebook stuff and the email blast, and I put the picture up on Facebook, and like 10 minutes later, Jill just posted, "Oh no!" with like an exclamation point. She was so horrified. Because she was even like, you're not going to really talk about this, are you? Nah, I'm not. I probably not. It's not going to come up. That's the artwork. Oh, no! Horrified in the middle of the night, which I loved. There's nothing I love more than horrifying people in the middle of the night, folks. So that made me laugh. So then when I came in and met them in the lobby, they were like, we were trying to figure out what to do. And they're like, let's go to the Detroit Zoo. And here's the thing that was so funny about it is we couldn't do it because we decided, we were like, yes, let's go to the Detroit Zoo. And then I looked it up on my phone. It actually closed in like 15 minutes because it closes at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Because it's Detroit. These animals, if it's open past 5, animals are going to get shot. You know what that city's like, for fuck's sake. It's like you got to figure the gangs are going to roll in the middle of the night and just start fucking picking off animals, big game style, right? Look, how many times have you gone to a gang hideout? I went to an El Rookin house one time. They had elks on the wall, like elk heads, because they go to the zoo and they hunt. I love the idea of the El Rookins having a house. What are they, a fraternity? I went to the Gangster Disciples house. And I had a toga on. We had a party. Went out and shot Whitey. It was fun. Mounted a deer's head on the wall. Couple of spare bonobos. All right, so That's how the gangster disciples run their house, man. All right. So I was like, it's funny. I was gonna say the M13s, but I, like they'll kill me. Like for some reason, what's funny is like gangster disciples and El Rookins, they don't even seem real because when I was a kid, that's who we grew up with, the Latin Kings and all those fucking gangs. And there was always rumors like where a kid in my school would be in the Latin Kings, and I lived like in a suburb where like there's never any. And now though, maybe because there's been a lot of encroachment upon my old suburb by people from the city, so maybe there are gangs. I have no idea because there was a shooting in my school like a couple years ago. Like not for me. It's not my school anymore, obviously. But the school I went to, there was a shooting in the Commons area, and when I went there, it was like that. I don't even know what would have happened. Would the UN of Evil have assembled and tackled the guy? I don't know how that would have worked. We would have just probably run. I would have run because let's put it. If there was a shooting in the lunchroom, I would have been there because I was in the lunchroom at all fucking times, all times. I took 3 different gym classes and then was in the lunchroom most of the rest of the time. Gleefully failing at life. And going, what's the big deal? Here's the big deal. You're in a stripper's kitchen 40 years later. All right. And actually, if you'd have told me when I was a kid, my job would have been in a stripper's kitchen, I would have been so happy. That would have been the greatest news you'd ever told me. Wait a minute. What? Yeah, you're only going to have to work once a week. And it's going to be in a stripper's kitchen. And she's going to sit there wearing very little directly across from you. Oh my God, I'm in. Sign me up.
Reality.
That's the best speech I would ever have with a guidance counselor. Literally, that's the best talk ever. Well, Mike, I've looked at your adaptation tests. I've looked at all of your standardized testing, and it appears that you're going to be in a kitchen with a stripper the rest of your life. Done. You're saying that as if it's a bad thing, sir. Mr. Parks, with your brush mustache. Mr. Parks was my counselor at Hubert Humphrey Middle School. And then I went to Bolingbrook High School, and Mr. Parks showed up there. As if he felt it was his duty to shadow me through the rest of my career and make sure that I knew I was going to be nothing. He was a nice guy. No, he was very encouraging and a nice guy. I don't even remember who the other counselors were. It was so funny because they, alphabetically is who you got. So I had Parks. And I remember I was in the guidance counselor office like a couple times only. They were the ones who had to give me the tests. The one with where they had to give me new tests. I've talked about that, the standardized tests. Yeah, all right. By year 2. I told that story on stage once. It's funny because I don't know how to do stand-up anymore. I always say that. And I have to. I have to start doing it. I will tell you this, folks. By the way, mark your calendars. Do you have your calendars to mark? Lily's looking. June 14th, folks. I've booked a stand-up to date. I'm doing stand-up on June 14th. Our friends Graham Elwood and Chris Mancini, they do a weekend in the desert with Graham and Chris. They go to Palm Desert, and they have you're making a face because you won't go. Well, I understand you can't go. You can't go in it because it's Friday night, and Friday night is the night of the FN happy hour.
Not during June.
What?
Maybe can I go with you?
I would love it if you came to Palm Desert with me. I got a room.
Oh, I'm out.
What?
I heard about the zoo. I'm not sharing a hotel room.
It's going to be me, you, and 3 bonobos in my room. It's going to be fucking amazing. You know what? I apologize. I'll have a room. I can get you put up in the El Rookin house. They have a guest room. They're good, very good hosts. I don't know if the El Rookins are still the El Rookins. I know because in Chicago's super violent now, and there's all these murders going on, and they say it's all gangs or whatever in the street. But I don't know if it's not gangs in the street. That would be Loverboy. What if Loverboy was shooting everybody in Chicago? Oh no! Everybody's working for the weekend except Loverboy. They're murdering everyone in the streets of Chicago. Gangs in the street, looking for you, looking for me. Gangs in the street. Ready for you, and they're ready for me. That's the chorus. Literally, that's the chorus of that Loverboy song. Awful. Mike Reno and his red pants, that fucking headband. However, Gangs in the Street, a song I love. And also, Kid is Hot Tonight, love that song. Turn Me Loose, probably my favorite Loverboy song. And then they wrote Lovin' Every Minute of It, which is a mess. Oh my God, is that a mess? Whoa, whoa, whoa. And he actually wrote that. He had to sit down and type that. He didn't write it by hand, folks. Mike Reno did all of his work at an Old Smith Corona. With a fucking fedora on. With a press pass in it from the 1932 World's Fair. That's how Loverboy wrote their songs. Mike Reno with a red headband and a fedora with a press pass from the 1932 World's Fair, clacking away at a Smith Corona and banging out classics like Jump. When I say jump, you better jump, jump, jump. When I say walk, you better get ready to say goodbye. Clack, clack, clack on a Smith Corona. Zoop. Lily did it, and I can't take credit for it. She literally just did the sliding across the thing. Ding, 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 bing. Slide it across. That's how Loverboy got their business done. Look, only the lucky ones get to work on a typewriter, folks. Only the lucky ones get to steal the show. Only the lucky. Only the lucky ones get lucky. Ding! Slide over. I can't do the noise. All right. I love the idea of Mike Reno in that outfit with a fedora on, writing all the songs. Paul Dean in the background just looking ugly and hideous. Oh, Paul Dean. Paul Dean looked like Stonehenge with a Jufro. God damn, that's an ugly guy. He did. He's awful looking. Did he die? Is Paul Dean dead? I don't remember. One of them is dead. One of the Loverboy guys is dead. One of their drummers died in a bizarre gardening accident. All right. And you know that actually happened? If I talked about that on here, one of the drummers from Toto died in a bizarre gardening accident. Literally that happened. Yeah. Like 8 years ago, one of the drummers from Toto, he died in his yard like fucking Vito Corleone with an orange in his mouth. He just fucking toppled over, and nobody knows what the fuck happened to him. It was like, oh, a bizarre gardening accident. Guess what? All right. What, you're looking it up? Paul Dean.
Scott Smith was declared dead after being lost at sea.
Lost at sea?
He fell off his boat and presumed dead after being swept away from his sailboat.
Why are you laughing at that? That's awful news. It's terrible. Yeah, I don't know either. You find that so funny.
Avoid boats.
Well, wait a minute. Did they ever find him?
No.
Well, I know where he is. It was water, right? Yeah. He's a bass player. He's probably holding down the bottom. Yeah, that's right. Ding! Slide it over!
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I work better without earbuds. This is not good. I'm not bad. I feel loose. I'm not connected to anything. I'm free. All right, so. So what was I talking about? I don't remember. Oh, the zoo. All right, Detroit. We almost went to the Detroit Zoo. And the weird thing is, because I don't know, someone asked me, they go, is the zoo in Detroit famous? I have no fucking clue. Literally, I was with two strangers and had no idea what to do with my afternoon. So it just, rather than go to a movie and sit in the fucking silence, and also have Debbie drinking her flask, I decided, let's go somewhere open air where if something happens, maybe Debbie will be eaten by a tiger and my weekend will be fine. Debbie goes two-fisted at the zoo. She climbs into a fucking ocelot pit, winds up getting torn apart, and then me and Jill can enjoy the rest of our weekend. Boy, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than going to Detroit on a vacation, getting drunk, and being torn apart by wild bonobos. That's not good at all. She fell into the ocelot pit. Try telling her husband that. Because her husband knows her. He knows she was pushed. What happened to her? Well, she fell into the ocelot pit. Was she drinking? Yes. Oh, so you pushed her into the ocelot pit? Yes. Ding. So we were going to go to the zoo. It just was a possibility. It was one of the things we were looking at. And the weird thing is it wasn't my idea, because that's something I would think of. Because again, as you know, you all know how I feel about the zoo. It's a great place for a first date. Not that was a date, but it was at least the three of us being open air and doing something. So it turned out we could not go because it was almost closed. And then our friend Hannah came to town, and I said, "How are you? What are you doing this weekend?" She goes, "Oh, well, I'm going to the zoo over the weekend." And in my head, I was like, really? I guess. And again, it's Detroit. The zoo has to be the safest place. You're at least off the street. I'd rather be in an enclosed area with those animals than on the streets with the other animals who are fucking murdering everybody. So, and again, I shouldn't even say that because Chicago is even more dangerous and terrible than Detroit these days. But I don't know. I don't know. I had a good time in Detroit. Why am I fucking running those people down? They were nice. Actually, I wasn't in Detroit, and nobody from Detroit came to my show. Did I say that? When I was on stage, I said that. I go, hey, who here is actually from Detroit proper? Nothing. Not a clap, not a hand in the air. Nobody was from Detroit. They were all from the surrounding suburbs. So it's a good thing I didn't book Detroit because fucking nobody would have fucking showed up. Uh, I wanted to tell this. I forgot to mention this last week. When I was in Detroit to do the show, I started to tell this story and I got sidetracked. I brought an iPod for John, the guy who ran the theater, because I had said to him, "Do you want CDs or do you want an iPod?" And he's like, "Well, we can bring whatever you want." So I didn't want to burn CDs, so I brought my iPod for the first time. I've never used my iPod in a club. I've always provided them with CDs. So I came in and I gave him the iPod, and he started he's staring at it like he didn't know how to work it. And he goes, "Yeah, I don't even use one of these. I still have a Discman that I use." And I'm like, "Why the fuck did you tell me to bring an iPod then?" And I go, "Well, all right, let me show you. Here's how it works. It's got a switch here." And he goes, "Oh no, I know how it works. I mean, his wife has one and he uses one." He goes, I just don't use it." I went, "Oh, okay." Well, I was relieved. So because he doesn't know how to use the iPod, I had to find out what music he could play because I wasn't sure. I didn't make a pre-show Detroit mix because I stopped doing that in St. Louis because they started too early because I would only make like an hour mix, but they started too early before anybody's even in the showroom. So the first 3 songs get played and nobody hears it. And then by the time they're seated, it ends early, and then they have to put it on they never put it on the repeat, so then there's no music. It's just fucking. I'm tired of hand holding and babysitting these theater dudes, and it doesn't happen everywhere, but when it happens once or twice, it just makes you go, "Man, what the fuck." So I looked, and I'm looking through, and it took forever. John's standing there, and I'm looking, and I'm trying to pick out the music for the show, and I've got all of the pre-shows from the other cities all programmed into my iPod, and I've got other playlists and just a Zeppelin list and all these different things. And then I mentioned this last week. I have a playlist called Into the Cold that I just do because I'm flying eastbound. So in the winter, I named it Into the Cold because I'm great. And then I would listen to it on the plane, and it had almost 3,000 songs on it. I mentioned all this last week. But what I didn't tell you was, so he plugs it in, he hits play, and I'm in the back in the fishbowl, and I was actually excited because it started to play all these different songs that I would never think to play. When I make a specific playlist, I know what it's going to be. Well, I kind of liked the idea that I didn't know what was coming up. So it's on shuffle of like 3,000 songs. So it played like "Move On" by Paul Stanley from his solo album, and like all these different, and then a Beyonce song. It just was a cool mix of songs that I've put together on this list. And I found myself in the fishbowl going, "Yeah, this is great. All right, I like this." So then I'm in the fishbowl. Why is that funny to you? So then I'm in the fishbowl, and all of a sudden I hear a song start, and people are sitting down. There's people in the showroom. I can hear them, and I'm in the back. And again, they're there for a show, so we're kind of setting a tone for the show. And I hear the piano start, and it's a song called "Heaven Can Wait" by Meatloaf, which is like 8 minutes long, and crazy sad. It's a real set piece. I mean, it is. Heaven can. I can't even do it. And the word, and it's amazing. It's a brilliant song. By the way, let's talk about Meatloaf for a second. Get you if you don't own Bat Out of Hell, you have to own it because it's genius. Even if you're young or old or whatever, because there's like 5 brilliant songs on it, and then you don't have to own anything else ever that Meatloaf ever recorded. Just get Bat Out of Hell because there's 5 brilliant songs on it. Well, Heaven Can Wait is one of them, and also For Crying Out Loud, which is a fucking amazing song. Because again, people know the hits, of course, which is Paradise by the Dashboard Light, which is a great song, and then Took the Words Right Out of My Mouth, which is fucking amazing. But 2 out of 3 ain't bad. God damn it! Like all these songs are brilliant. But Heaven Can Wait and For Crying Out Loud, those are amazing songs. So Heaven Can Wait starts playing, but the problem is it's a showroom, and there's people that are excited for a show, and now Meatloaf is about to cry over some chick for like 8 minutes, and I'm in the back, and I literally, it started, and I just went, ha, because I can't fix it. Anything short of me walking out there, because now also I will tell you this, this happens all the time when I'm in a place, I'm in a green room, and I don't know why they do this. The green room is on the complete opposite side of the theater from the bathroom or the restroom. So when if I have to go use the restroom before the show, I have to walk through everybody, which is nice, and people are very nice. The weirdest thing ever happened in Detroit, I go to walk through, and everybody starts clapping. And I'm like, hi, and I wave, and everybody's very polite and nice. So then I walk through, and I hit the head, and then I walk out, and John looks at me, and he's panicked, and he's like, what's going on? I go, nothing. He goes, I heard clapping. Is it starting? Did you start? I'm like, no, they love me. And I turned around and I walked away. And then I have to go back to the room, and it's so awkward and strange because now everybody's already clapped for me once. So now when I have to walk back through, they're not going to clap again, and they shouldn't. So literally, it was just this thing where I walked through, and I pretended like I was. Yes, I'm stupid. I pretended like I was Scottie Pippen getting introduced at the United Center during the playoffs when they say his name, and he high fives all of the other teammates on the way out to go and stand there and be in the spotlight. That's what I did. I walked through, and people were walking, and I put my hands up, and so people did, and then I high fived them on the way back to the fishbowl, and I went back there. By the way, during Heaven Can Wait. So it could not be more inappropriate music to high five over than Heaven Can Wait by Meatloaf. So I walked through, like high fiving everybody, pretending I'm Scottie Pippen, and I get into the back. And then more music plays, and also, like, I always throw Rick Springfield into my pre-show mix, and usually it's a song called "Walk Like a Man," which is fucking amazing, and it has meaning too, because it's about, because the show is about being a kid, whatever the fuck, you don't care, but there's meaning. But then, like, we were there, and I think it was "Human Touch" that played, which I would never put on the list, and I was so awesome. I'm like, yay, Rick, and all these different songs. So then I'm in the back, and the show starts, and I told John, I go, listen to me. The only thing I ask, you put this iPod on, just throw it on shuffle forever. Who cares? I said, but we're going to start at 8:10, and the only thing I ask is please, please do not fade a song in the middle or stop a song even. I go, if there's a song playing, let it end, and then hit pause, and then we'll start. Even if it's 8:09, if a song starts, that's fine. Let that song finish, and then I'll come up. Okay, no problem. So I go into the back, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and now it's 8:05, so I got to stand up and I got to put my shirt on, and a song ends. So yeah, because I have an overshirt that I wear on stage, but I don't wear it when I'm sitting down because I don't want to wrinkle it. This is a real window into me, but it's a window into everybody. Who the fuck wants to wrinkle their clothes, right? And I'm about to go on stage and sweat like a motherfucker in that shirt. I don't want to ruin it. All right. Well, you looked at me like I was weird. I don't know, because I said, you did. I said, I got to put a shirt on at 8:05, and you made this face like, what the fuck?
Thinking, why weren't you wearing a shirt?
Oh, like any shirts.
It took me a moment.
Oh, like an overshirt.
Here's the overshirt.
Well, that's what I do.
Weirder.
I'm usually naked, honestly, in the green room, and that's why I'm so mad. The bathroom's all the way across the theater. I got to get dressed, walk all the way over, use that bathroom, walk back, high five everyone, and then get undressed. I like to lounge around nude before the show. That's how I do it. I let everything breathe. So, no, it's an overshirt, of course. Now you do. So I'm in the back, and it's like 8:05, 8:06, and I stand up and I put on my overshirt, and I'm starting to get into the, hey, they love you vibe, trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about. Start to learn some jokes at 8:06, and a song ends, and another song starts, and I'm sitting there, and it's 8:07 now, and this song starts. Or no, 8:06. It was 8:06, I think. And I just hear the thing, do 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 do, and me and Mrs. Jones, we got a thing going on, and I'm in the back, and I just go, ha ha ha, no way! Like, I'm so pissed. Because I'm going to come on stage to Me and Mrs. Jones. That's my final song to get everybody pumped up. Yeah, you know what? I'm on the way, motherfuckers. Guess what? We got a thing going on. And so I just start laughing at the table. And then people outside hear me laugh, so they laugh because I'm an idiot. And I can't believe I'm going to have to go on to Me and Mrs. Jones. Now it's a race. So now I'm like, please end, song. You've got to finish. This can't be the last song. So it might have been 8:05, whatever. My watch was not synced with this, but it's playing, and like doo doo doo, like it's fucking one finger snap, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to come on stage to Me and Mrs. Jones. This is the worst wrestler theme song in the history of theme songs. Because I'm a wrestler at heart. That stupid. I need something to come to the ring to. I need something that's fucking awesome. So I couldn't believe it played, and I'm waiting to go on, and then sure enough, thankfully, there's it's a race against time, and then it ends at like 8:08, and I'm sitting there. I'm wondering if John's going to stop it prematurely. I don't even know if he's paying attention at this point, but I'm hoping that another song, because I cannot take the stage to Me and Mrs. Jones. That cannot be the end. And I'm in the back, and all of a sudden I just hear. Iron Man by Black Sabbath, which it literally, if I could walk into a room the rest of my life to a song, it would be Iron Man by Black Sabbath. Because when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of the Road Warriors, these wrestlers, Animal and Hawk, and I could do their introduction. I can still do it. If you press play and Iron Man starts, to the beat, I can hit the post on the guitar exactly the way the announcer from the AWA did it. Once they left and they went to WWF and they went to fucking NWA, it was different. But I grew up watching them in the AWA when they were like fucking evil bad guys, and it would just because I saw them live so many fucking times that I would be in there and the fucking music would start, and I could do the announcer. I can do it. To this day, I won't do it. I'll spare you because honestly, even if I did it now, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if I was doing it for real. You would only have to know it from the AWA guy, and nobody has that in their bones like me. I don't think, unless out there. If you're look, folks, if you're an AWA fan, write me. Let me know. Send me your phone number. I'll call you. I'll do it over the phone. All right, so. I hope so. Because I'll do it. I'll set up the fucking music right by the phone, and I'll you know, and their opponents, and a combined weight, and I won't do it. All right, so 567 pounds. I used to do it. I used to do it in my fucking house. So Iron Man starts, and and then I laughed even harder because I'm like, thank God, me and Mrs. Jones eradicated by fucking Animal and Hawk, and they stop in here and fucking destroy them. That's the worst tag team match of all time. Animal and Hawk, the Road Warriors, against me and Mrs. Jones. We would get wiped out. I wouldn't so much, but we would. That's the problem. Is we would start with Mrs. Jones in the ring, and I'd probably never even get tagged in. She wouldn't even make it to my corner. She'd get fucking destroyed. All right, so we would no longer have a thing going on. By the way, if she's in traction. I can tell you that. Once the Road Warriors get finished with her, she and I would no longer have a thing going on. She would be far less bendy. I like them bendy. You know me. All right. So Iron Man starts, and I'm like, this is awesome, and I'm so excited. And then sure enough, 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half into Iron Man, fucking John just stops it, just fades it out. It's like, did you not even listen to me? Did you not even listen to me once? And then I went on stage and I talked about it for 45 minutes, I think. Literally talked about me and Mrs. Jones and the music. Like, I just kept talking about it and not stopping. And everybody's like, will you tell jokes about, you know, everything else or talk about the show? No, I'm sorry. I want to talk about me and Mrs. Jones and the zoo. So there, I wanted to bring that to you from Detroit. I forgot to tell you it last week. And aren't you glad? Aren't you glad I waited on that for a fucking week? Of course you are. Jesus Christ. I don't, it's funny. And you know what? Out there, someone will think that I was waiting on purpose. Like someone will, because I get people, there are people who don't understand. People who don't understand, stop not understanding things. I don't get it. What's wrong with you? Get with the program. Get with the rest of us and start understanding. I posted a joke on Facebook, folks. And I tweeted it. And I wrote, here's what I wrote. I said, is it possible to meet strong, decent, well-adjusted women on the internet? Guess I'm going to find out. Ladies, hit me up at OkCupid. Search Larry Cuntknuckle. Now, the beginning of that maybe doesn't sound like a joke, and that's the point. The funny part is the end when you have to realize my screen name is Larry Cuntknuckle. Haha, right? We're all having fun? No. Tell that to the people who honestly thought I was an OkCupid, for one thing. My wife just left. You do understand that, right? I don't think it's time to start soliciting robots for dating. My right arm still works. But it's silly enough that people think that I went to OkCupid, but then to think that I would put it on Facebook to the people that I know and say, hey, look me up at OkCupid, all you women that I know already, dumb, like ridiculous, it would never happen that way. The whole point of going to OkCupid was to find women I don't know if I were to even go to OkCupid. But then there were two people who honestly thought I did it and was using the name Larry Cuntknuckle. One woman wrote on my Facebook page, she's like, I don't think you're using the right approach. Really? You don't think so? You don't think naming myself Larry Cunt Knuckle is going to get any of these women to contact me? You know who contacts me? Rachel Dickwrist. She's the only one. But it just made me laugh that people who think it's serious and they're like, oh yeah, I don't know if that's the right. And then people are like, go get him, Schmitty. Go. What? Are you serious? Yeah, good luck. Oh, I had a friend who met someone on there. And another guy's like, hey, I met some people on there. And and he said the weirdest thing, he was like, you directly contributed to it or something. Like I was involved somehow in him meeting girls online, which good for you. I mean, I hope that worked out for you. But yeah, but people honestly thought, A, that I had signed up, and B, that I would put it on my Facebook page, and C, that I would use the name Larry Cunt Knuckle. And by the way, let me throw this at you. When I thought of that joke, I was just going to be Cunt Knuckle. There's already a Cunt Knuckle on OkCupid.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. Because I look, here's the thing I do, folks. I fact check my jokes. Because the last thing I want is you people bothering Cunt Knuckle just because of some stupid joke that I made. So sure enough, I Googled it. I looked. I wrote OkCupid plus Cunt Knuckle, and there is. And it's a girl. It's like a 19-year-old girl from England. And again, might not be. It's probably some 75-year-old man from Michigan, but who fucking cares? It's the fucking profile named Cunt Knuckle is a 19-year-old girl from England. So I remember being so mad because I thought of it in the shower, and then I got out of the shower, and I'm like, oh, I got to write that joke. And I sat down to do it. And I checked. I did on purpose. I checked to see if there was already a Cunt Knuckle. And there was. Furious. But it made the joke better to be Larry Cunt Knuckle. So thank you, Cunt Knuckle in England, for improving my writing skills. For making me go the extra mile to make sure that it was that much funnier than it should have been. I love the fact that someone thought that they actually I was already dating and I was already doing computer dating. It's like, no, not yet. I'm sure it's coming. Don't think I don't troll the fucking Craigslist things. I mean, when you're bored in the middle of the fucking night and you go to Craigslist for casual encounters or men seeking women or women seeking men, I'll just read all of it just because I'm like, this is your depressing future. Get acquainted with it immediately. Women seeking men should just be retitled Heavy Girls with Kids. That's what it should be retitled. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Good for you. Everyone needs love, and I hope you find it. But every single one of those women is just like, hey, I like Jesus and the movies. By the way, I have 4 kids and I weigh 400 pounds. All right, well, good for you. If only somehow Jesus could come down and personally train you for a few months. And this is coming from a fat dude. I am clearly fat. I am not saying I am not. I am not saying I am better than anybody. But it is so heartbreaking to read those ads of these poor women who are just like, and how many euphemisms can you find for being a big girl? I mean, honest, it's just like, I'm thick in all the right places. Oh, no, you're not. Maybe you are. You know what that means? You're thick in all the places. It just happens that the right ones came along for the ride. And look, everyone needs love. We all deserve it. But when you read it, it's just so shockingly depressing that these people have to write it like that, and that they have to. And by the way, let me delineate here. This is the women seeking men section that I'm talking about. This is not the casual encounters section. Seriously, because women seeking men, it's just when you read it, you just hear sad music coming out of your computer. Because these people are like, I like the Lord, and I have, and that's fine, good for you, and that's what they're looking for. But in the casual encounter section, I don't give a fuck what you type. Anything goes at that point because you know exactly what you're looking for. Literally, it's always like, hey, I'm a big, beautiful fuck pig who wants you to stick your 10-inch cock in my eye. Good, in, done. I don't care. It's literally because it's just a bunch of heavy size queens who are looking for guys with big dicks, and good for them. That's fine. Because again, that's the casual encounter section. You can feel free to take the gloves off there. But in women seeking men, because I don't find that depressing. Like if some girl's just like, man, I just need to get fucking Rogered, like immediately by you and your huge cock. Do you live anywhere in Torrance? It's like, all right, that seems oddly specific. Can another guy? You must have a Torrance huge cock. Can't you get a? What if it was a guy from Tarzana? Still a T involved. What if his huge cock came from Tarzana? Nah, doesn't have the same zing as a Torrance cock. Good for you. Everybody knows what they want, and that's why you got to be specific in the casual encounter section. But in the women seeking men, it's just every time I go there, I just hear some Radiohead song. Because I'm bored out of my skull in the middle of the fucking night. And it's better than thinking about my lot in life. Again, 45, I'm like, well, let me get a glimpse into my future here. I'm going to have to meet some chick eventually somewhere on the internet because nothing real is going to happen in my life. No one else likes me. I'm never going to be liked by anybody in person again. I'm going to have to find out some sort of weird internet profile that I can trick people into liking so then eventually I can take someone to the zoo. That's what it's all about, folks. I just want to go to the fucking zoo, all right? Thick in all the right places. You want a cock in your eye. Everybody's a size queen. I just want to go look at macaws. Is that all right? Can I have somebody on my arm when I go look at koalas, please? That's what I need to put. Hey, size queens, who wants to go to the zoo? I understand elephants have giant cocks. You might not get your hands on it, but you can certainly see it from a distance while I'm buying you a plastic figurine. D.S.B. desperately seeking bonobos. Fuck, how badly do I want to go to the zoo? This through line is brutal. I used to go to the zoo all the time as a kid. That was the thing. It was like we had two zoos when I was a kid. There was the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago, and then there was the Lincoln Park Zoo. And we never went to the Lincoln Park Zoo. And I always wanted to go to the Lincoln Park Zoo. And as a kid, I thought it must be the zoo for rich people. Like, because we never went, because we were poor. I mean, we were poor as kids. So my mom, when we, looking for a cheap thing to do, she'd bring 5 kids to the zoo. But we'd always go to the fucking Brookfield Zoo, which is the ghetto zoo. Literally, it's just, you'd show up, there's a horse, whatever the fuck. You can see those anywhere, you dicks. It's a spider. Really? So I guess my house is a zoo now because I got spiders there, you cunts. But that was the thing, is my mom would go to Brookfield Zoo. Never, and the thing is, I always thought Lincoln Park Zoo was the rich people's zoo because Dr. Lester Fisher was from Lincoln Park Zoo. And Dr. Lester Fisher would be on Ray Rayner in the morning, and he would show up with a bonobo. Like, literally, he'd have an amazing animal. He'd be like, check this out from the Lincoln Park Zoo. And that always freaked me out, too, that they could take them out of the zoo. And what did they tell that fucking, hey, wake up, Charlie. We're going to the TV station. That's awful. I thought that whenever I saw like one of those animal experts, that those guys on Letterman or Carson or whenever they brought animals, I just thought how fucking weird it must be for a turtle. Turtle's like, man, I'm from the Amazon. And then all of a sudden he lives in a cement thing that's painted like the Amazon. And then he gets thrown into a van and he has to meet Ed McMahon. That fucking turtle is pissed. Or he's crazy happy. Who knows? Turtles may enjoy that sort of thing. I'll have to check it out on the casual encounters section of Turtle Craigslist. Desperately seeking talk show appearance. All right, so. So we went to the zoos when I was a kid. We went to Brookfield Zoo, and I wanted to go to Lincoln Park Zoo because Dr. Lester Fisher was there, and he always had a better quality of animal, certainly a television quality animal because he brought them on Ray Rayner. But we wound up in the fucking Brookfield Zoo, looking at ponds with nothing in them. Just literally these stagnant bodies of water, and they'd be like, oh, it's just like in the forest. No, it's not. That's just a puddle you won't sop up. My mom would get zoo envy. Like she would give us, we'd get snack packs, like corn chips and peanuts. And she'd be like, feed these to everybody. And so when any animals we saw, we'd just start whipping fucking corn chips at them. That can't be right. But we did it. But when I say my mom had animal envy, because she would get this all the time at the zoo, she'd bring a camera. And there were zoos in the enclosure, or animals in the enclosures, and animals in the pens, and animals sleeping. And my mom would always be like, talk to them. Hey, 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 like to get the lion to look at us, which made no sense because I'm like, Ma, we're just fucking lunch in parkas at this point. That lion wants nothing to do with us. Unless he can eat us, he doesn't want to look at us. He's pissed. He's on green cement. I mean, he wants nothing to do with us. But it didn't matter because we're at the zoo, so we're just whipping corn chips at these lions. My mom's taking photos. But the best part was we would sit on a bench or something. We'd be walking all over the trails, and then we'd sit down, and then a squirrel would come out of the bushes. And my mom, it was as if she was Dr. Dolittle. Like because she's looking at animals that she can't get to. So the second a squirrel walks out and kind of approaches us, my mom would take 100 pictures of that squirrel as if, because like it was like the zoo had come to life for her. All of a sudden, finally, there was an animal that paid attention to her. And she's like, I better get 100 pictures of this squirrel before my kids kill it with a corn chip pile. So I can remember getting home and going through the pictures, and it'd be like, oh, there's a lion, there's a giraffe, and then you know how you shuffle cards and it's like it makes that noise that literally we would have 52 pictures of a squirrel, the same squirrel, not even like different squirrels. One squirrel would approach my mom, and my mom would go fucking Ansel Adams on that squirrel and just take like a million photos, and then it would be like, and then she would throw it like a peanut, and then it would grab the nut, and you know my mom would just be like, oh, like it was the cutest thing in the world, and it was interacting with her, and I wonder if it was because my mom was like lonely. I can't even figure it out, but my mom was so happy that the squirrel came over, and then she'd feed it, and she would be so impressed by it. She would take so I called it animal envy. Even as a child, I would go, the second a squirrel shows up, we're not going anywhere. Mom's going to take 1,000 pictures of the fucking squirrel, because that's what she did. She would sit on the bench and just take 1 billion photos of the squirrel. And meanwhile, we're throwing corn chips at other kids, just being assholes. Actually, no, we were on our best behavior. When we went places with my mom, fucking forget it, because we knew my mom would beat the shit out of us and not think twice. It was brutal. My mom was a tooth chipper. But yeah, we would go to the zoo, and we would also get those. And I can still smell them. Did you ever go to the zoo? And can I say where you grew up? I don't even remember. We talked about it. Wherever. Okay, you're funny. They would have that machine that makes a plastic figurine of like a gorilla, and you would get to see, like, you'd put in the money, and then you would get it made, and then you would just smell it the rest of the time in the zoo, because it had that weird, amazing plastic burning smell. Your zoo trip was not complete unless you got it, and we would always get it. We would always get it. Everyone, we would just get some sort of snake or a giraffe, whatever the fuck it made, and all of us. And the thing is, there's 5 of us. So you had to try, we would try to, you didn't want to get the same animal as your brothers. So we'd have to try to find the machines that made all different animals, but most of them made just gorillas. So we wind up with the same gorilla. And then we'd have to put our initial on it to make sure, hey, that's my gorilla. Like, don't touch my gorilla. Because we're dicks. And now you know why I take dates to the zoo. I'll buy them a figurine. I'll put my initial on it. See, that's mine and you are mine. And then they run into the lion pit and get eaten. And the lion is thrilled because they are thick in all the right places.
Oh, Christ.
All right. Talking about zoos for an hour. So, I was talking to Lily when I got here. By the way, our friend Jim Bruce made his Kickstarter, so thank you if anybody helped him out with that. Yeah, good for Jim. But it's funny because people have said to me you should do it on the Kickstarter if you want to go out and do live shows, but I just don't feel right about it because we don't have anything to give away. And I guess I can give away the same stuff we gave away last time, but I mean that seems weird, and who wants that? You know what I mean? It just seems odd, and it's just there has to be a purpose to do it, in my opinion. And we know people. I mean, because everybody's pissed off at Zach Braff because he's crowdfunding, and everybody says that's going to be the reversal of all crowdfunding. And but I know people who've done Indiegogo or Kickstarter and done that. It turns out Lily has a friend who put up a Kickstarter, and she's a stripper. And let me go ahead and qualify this real quick. Normally when I talk about Lily, I say she's a stripper, but she's a burlesque dancer. She's not like a on the pole, hey, you can come on my leg if you want stripper. All right, she's not one of those.
You can come on my leg if you want strippers.
It's funny you would say that because I don't agree. Anyway, how bad would that be? The ones I've met have been, whether they wanted to be or not. If they're good at their job, you can come on their leg. Check that. If they're good at their job, you will come on their leg. I haven't gotten handsy in a while with by myself. Whatever. I can't. No, never mind. All right. So, I told the story. Whose bachelor party? Was it Jeff's bachelor party I was at in Vegas? When I disappeared into the back and then I came walking out with my belt around my neck. I told that story. And my friends were just like, what the fuck? Really? And it was great. It was so great. I felt like fucking Jim Belushi in Trading Places when he's in the gorilla outfit. And he's like, look what happened to me. He comes in all naked. Hey, look what happened to me. I come walking out of the room and I'm like, my hair's all messed up and I got a belt around my neck. And my friends are just like, yeah, I figured it would be you. But nothing happened. So, yeah, just all of a sudden my belt was, whatever the fuck, who cares? By year, I think I told that story in year 2, year 3? By year 3. Check that, Adam. Adam knows he's the keeper now. Because he went bananas and made 1,000 graphs. Our friend Adam from last week. I take up far too much of your time, Adam. Please, don't let me insidiously take over your life. Just give me your Wednesdays and your Thursdays. Why would I need his Wednesdays? Uh, so talking about your friend.
Strippers.
Uh, can I say her name? Can I tell that story? I don't know.
She's public about who she is and what she does.
Okay, there's what about her real name?
Let me check the Kickstarter, but I'm pretty sure that's all very public.
We know a stripper whose name is Lucky Deluxe, and she's a friend of Lily's, and she put together a Kickstarter where she is her real name even. Oh, okay. So Lily has talked about Lucky, and I've seen that this Kickstarter was up and running. Lucky's also a comedian, and she has a Tumblr and a blog and a vlog and whatever the fuck. And but her main income is from literally stripping, not burlesque. Does she do burlesque?
Yeah.
Okay, she is a burlesque dancer as well.
Burlesque. She does a whole comedy burlesque show.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing.
All right.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the come on her leg part of her career right now. So she's an actual stripper, and she is a peep show performer. One of those chicks behind the glass who talks to you and gets you off and does whatever she's going to do while you're slipping dollars into the slot. And her Kickstarter that she put together was a comedy show. And here was the show. She's going to do I guess it's a podcast or a video series. I have no idea. A web series. And she's going to interview comedians. And I know you're thinking, well, so what? But she's going to interview them from the peep show. And the comedian will be in the one room, and he has to put $1 in, and then the thing comes up, and then she puts on her peep show while she asks the comedian questions about comedy and his life and whatever the fuck else. And I would assume asks him if he's hard 45 times. That's got to come up, right? Literally. But she's going to interview comics, and I guess she raised the money, right? Didn't she? She got it done. And I only bring this up because then I found out her real name, and it turns out I know this girl from like 10 years ago as a comedian. Like, I didn't know that she'd, had a breaker go bad, and then she turned out to be this. I didn't know that she had a short somewhere and wound up getting, and I don't mean that in a mean way. She's a lovely girl. But it just made me laugh that I can't even. And here's the thing that I'm upset about. I'm not. I'm glad she raised the money, and good for her, and she's still doing comedy and all that. I'm mad that I'm not getting interviewed for this. How the fuck? Because it's going to be this like weird dance of awkward, all right, which is fine. She's going to be, because I guess, look, I don't know what they do in a peep show, and here's why. I only went to one. I've only been to one peep show. Well, I mean, I've walked into peep shows. I think I told the story. What city was I in where I walked upstairs and the girl was there, and I was talking to her, and then she tried to get me in the room, and I wouldn't go in, and then she went in with another guy. It was on the road somewhere, whatever, by year 5. But I have not gone into an actual peep show, and here's why. Because I never know because they can see me, right? All right, that's a thing. And I'm supposed to jerk off, right?
Well, there's no law.
Yes, there is. Bullshit. If the doors close and I'm putting money in and a girl is spreading her legs in front of me and telling me, then you know what? I'm bound by honor to jerk off. It's like compliments to the chef. I have to jerk off at that point. That's her whole goal, right? I would think. I mean, I guess I'm talking to the wrong person. This would be a question that I would ask if I were being interviewed on the show. How amazing would that be? How am I not being asked? You know why? You probably think I'm going to jerk off. That's probably why.
It's the worst interview ever. Yes, we're done.
No, I'll edge it out. So, but when I heard that she was doing it, I just like, what comedian would do it? And then I heard that she's getting like real comedians to do it, like actual comics. And I'm like, that just seems like a recipe for disaster. Like, we're weird. Like, we don't want to do that, right? But good for her. I mean, that's fine. But I have never gone into a peep show for that reason, because again, like I said, I'm supposed to jerk off and they can see me. Like, I don't I got no interest in them seeing me jerk off. I'd rather they pretend that I had a good book or something on my side of the glass. And periodically I was glancing up to see that they were fucking, 9 inches of plastic deep into themselves. Good for them. And Lily said that's because all right, so again, like I said, I've been to one peep show in Vegas. But that's because they could only see your face. So like you went in and it was like, you ever see the Madonna, which video is that? Open Your Heart. And it's a bunch of dudes in rooms, and then the thing goes up because they put money in. I went into one like that in Vegas. Like I went into this room, and it was a door, but there was a square for my face. And then when I put the money in, the square went up, and there was just a fucking naked chick in the middle, and you could see all the way around. There were a bunch of dudes that were watching her through squares. And she didn't give a shit about the guy, so it was less one-on-one. So it's just like all of us watching, and it's like, well, if you want to whip it out there and jerk off, then by all means do that. Now, I didn't, because again, I'm not an animal. And also, I realized, okay, hold on. If you go into a broom closet and stare at a naked woman and jerk off while you're standing up, you're an animal. Sorry. Whether it's for that purpose or not. And also, because there's no place there's no depository. Like, all right, let's put it this way. If there was a bucket, maybe you're not an animal at that point. Because then you can just fucking come in the bucket and they got a guy who slops it out later. But if there's just a floor, you are a goddamn animal. If you whip it out and jerk off and just shoot on the floor and then bail, you're a fucking animal. I wouldn't do that. That's terrible. You can make your face all you want. Are you doubting me, or you're doubting what I'm saying?
I have never jacked off in a peep show. I have no idea.
Me neither.
Yet.
Exactly. I'm waiting for the call.
Well, I was reading the description. It's called Peeping Comics.
Peeping Comics. That's a horrible name.
It's wonderful. It says I need help funding my web series Peeping Comics, where I interview comics that I know and love at the Peep Show. I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, she wouldn't remember me anyway. Again, I met her like 10 years ago.
She might.
No, she's seen a lot of dicks. In the interval. It's got to be a blur at this point. I would blend right in. I was the one who talked. Literally, it's the only thing I have going. I love the caveat of comics I know and love. It's like, because they're going to know her a whole lot more. Because, I mean, she's doing the whole, is she just interviewing them, or is she actually doing like a crazy sex show?
My understanding is she does a complete sex show for them while interviewing.
Well, where is she going to put this up on the web? I mean, that's got to be on RedTube or something.
Well, here's the thing. I doubt, although I would find it much more interesting if there were like deep shots of vaginal sex insertion, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be cuts of faces. I would assume. I don't know. Not
a fan. No. If you do this, you got to throw the Hail Mary. You got to go all the way on this. You got to, you know what? You got to get Nikki Sixx in there and get all the squishing sounds recorded. Fuck yeah. If you're going to rocket queen it, that's fine. You better get way down in there and engineer the shit out of it.
I think the cool part would be the reactions, not what she's doing.
No, maybe for other people, but for me, I'm only watching that show to see Lucky's vagina. Literally, she should name the show Lucky's Vagina. I would tune in. I would have contributed probably.
You wouldn't tune in to watch a comic that you know try to do an interview while having things in their face?
No, I don't. Well, I mean, but they're separated by glass.
Yes, but you're still.
No, see, this works much better if she's in the same room.
Well, that's just for you.
Yeah, she's got to be climbing on you. Look, I mean, seriously, that plexiglass fucks the whole thing up. I mean, you got to be right in the room with me, and then that interview picks up. And then we truly get to the bottom of some stuff. If you wind up climbing all over me, bonobo style, just fucking like Marsha Warfield said about Magic Johnson, I'm going to climb to the top and just sit there. Yeah, I'm in. And then ask me about my childhood and my career. Let's do this. I when I heard about that show, I was just like, I don't know. And then I found out I knew the chick, and so then I'm like, well, I mean, I watch it just to see her vagina. But then Lily's like, well, they're probably not going to show her vagina, and I'm like, well, then why am I tuning in? I don't want to see. Look, if I want to see uncomfortable comics, I'll go to the back of the Improv. I mean, honestly, it's. I don't need to tune in on the web to see that. What? I'm serious. I don't know. So I mean, when it's up and running, and again, am I putting this out there maybe to be asked? Who knows? Yeah. I think I actually know somebody who's doing it. I can't go into it, but I had heard that, and I was like, that's weird.
I know a few.
Yeah. All right. Because who could pass up that chance? I wouldn't. You know what? How much does it cost to get you to start taking your clothes off? Let's totally steal this concept right now. I mean, I already see you in thin. There you go, shoulders, folks. It's happening. Toasted coconut ice cream, done.
There you go.
That's all I needed.
How uncomfortable would it be if I brought out a sex toy and started doing a live sex show? Seriously.
Oh, wow.
That would be uncomfortable.
I don't know, man. I would straddle the Sibian between uncomfortable and awesome. I mean, I wouldn't know.
Straddle the Sibian.
Seriously, I don't know where I would come down on that. Actually, I know exactly where I would come down, either your back or the floor. Depends on how close you were.
It depends whether or not we have the cum bucket.
Yeah. I would come down on your leg. Yeah, this show just took a weird turn.
Well,
all right.
Yeah. No.
Well, I don't know, man. It's year 6. Let's do this. Let's loosen it up. People have been waiting. You and I are the Ross and Rachel of this podcast. Seriously, we are. Because, I mean, we have to be.
Oh my God.
Honestly, I don't know who else we could be.
Oh my God.
All right. People are waiting. All right, so I don't even know why I brought that up. I don't know why it's stuck in my head. It was just because we were talking about it earlier, and I was just, and I know, like I said, I think I know someone who's involved, and I was like, God, and because I don't even know, I don't know, because I talk a good game, and I pretend like if I did it, it would be fine, and I'd be like, yeah, but I would just be weirded out as everybody else, right? Probably. I don't know. No, I enjoy vaginas. All right, so.
My question is, how good an interview is it going to be?
Oh, it's an awful interview. It's terrible.
But again, it's like I know her not really well, but I'm just like I wanted to be there at the writing session of what questions you're going to ask. You know, it's like, so Mr. Williams, when was the first? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of research did you do? Okay, so while I'm stabbing my vagina, I'll ask.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
going to be interesting. I think it'll be fun.
I don't want to be the story producer for that show either. I just putting together that script. That seems awkward and odd.
I think it's killer.
It works better if the comic does the interviewing, but literally the only question he would get out is, does that hurt? That's the whole thing he's thinking the entire time.
Oh my God.
She's on a fuck swing with 14 inches of Tupperware in each hole.
What Tupperware?
It's plastic. That's the whole point. It's like
I'm going through all there's cups and there's this and the measurements, but what's
I was going more for the material it was made out of, not actual Tupperware. Yes.
Again, I thought you weren't wearing a shirt earlier.
Although she is naked, she has to keep her lunch somewhere. Middle of a peep show, you got to reach in and pull out a fucking container of apple slices. Those are small rooms. You got nowhere to keep stuff.
Holy fuck. Oh my God.
That made me laugh. I'm fucking good at this. I'm really good at this. Even with no earbuds, I'm good at this. All right. So I don't know. Maybe I start a Kickstarter to get me on her show. A Kickstarter just to get me interviewed by a weird stripper. All right, good.
Let's get that going.
Yeah, done. Set it up. And you know what's weird is I say weird stripper, right? I say weird stripper. I know her. I know her name is Susan, right? Or something. I don't want to give her full name, but I mean, it's like, so it makes me laugh that I'm like, aha, I got to see this chick take her clothes off, and I got to be in the fucking room when she climbs all over me. I fucking know her. That makes it even better, I think. For me. Probably not for her. Staring at some guy she knows that she works at garden hose up into her baby house. That's going to be uncomfortable for everybody except me. I'm just fucking, and that would work better. Put the hose up there and then let me take a peek up.
Oh,
Like a fucking crazy vagina periscope. I want to see, man. It's like a backyard speculum. Let's do this. Look at me improving this show. I'm not even on it. Fuck a Kickstarter. You know what? I just listed on Craigslist under fucking casual encounters. Must meet old comedian friend and see her put a fucking hose into her vagina and I can stare up and look where babies will never live. Just me and a fucking bonobo monkey staring up into that hose. And my mom taking 1,000 pictures. Yeah! And my 4 brothers just whipping corn chips at her. Ding! Bang that out, Reno. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can be our friend David Hernandez's friend at Facebook.com/DavidMaxHernandez. You can be our friend Lily Von Stup's friend at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stup. And you can go ahead and follow her 3 different Twitter accounts, Twitter.com/Lily Von Stup, Twitter.com/Monday Night Teas, and Twitter.com/FN Happy Hour. MNT. What did I say? Oh, Christ. I am. I'm souped up. Twitter.com/Monday Night. No, MNTs. How did I fuck that up? I'm all screwed up.
It's the monkey.
It is. Could be. He'd do a better job, quite frankly. Twitter.com/MNTs. Twitter.com/FN Happy Hour. But if you'd like to write her a personal note and find out which Taco Bell she and I are going to work at together, you can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. How mean is that? You know what's funny? Bill Gorgo, I haven't seen him in 18 years. He has no idea. I just took his head off in a fucking ballroom before Murph and the Magic Tones come on. And until then, don't go change it.
Schmitty Comes Alive. Available only on the Joe Business page at MikeSchmidtComedy.com.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. 10 o'clock p.m. is the time. That is the place, and it is the longest running, most amazing, certainly the best burlesque show in the history of Los Angeles, in the history of Southern California, in the history of California, in the history of the West Coast, in the history of the United States, in the history of the globe. The Monday Night Tea has been running 7 years, 8 years, 12 years, 9 years. Ladies and gentlemen, it'll be almost 10 in September, if I remember correctly.
I think it's, well, no. I will have been performing, I don't know.
That's our friend Lily Von Stup. She is a master of promotion, obviously.
I can't remember. Yeah, it's been, I don't know. It's been maybe 11 years. I honestly can't remember right at this particular moment.
All of them brilliant, all of them great.
What matters are my years.
Yeah, exactly. I was there last week working the door, and you were not. You were off doing something we'll talk about in just a second. But I was there with a Christina Nakaya in the house, and Christina Nakaya is pretty bendy, yes. But her act was not bendy. This was not a bendy act, but I wanted to see her get all bendy. But she's still very bendy. I saw that on the internet. She is. She can lick her ankle. She's that kind of person, so that's good news. I've never seen her do that. Well, not seen it. I've certainly thought about it quite a few times. But she walked in and she was real nice, and the show was great. And here's something I will say about the Monday Night Teas, and I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even last week, but I'm going to say it again. I said it last week, 2 weeks ago, but now I will say it for sure and unequivocally mean it. I'm never helping ever again. Did I talk about helping you on stage when about the spankings, and I said, hey, talk about that, and you were like, no. Okay. You weren't there Monday. You were off doing your thing we're about to discuss. And our good friend Bella Luna was in charge of the spankings. She was in charge of doing, she was being you. She was playing Lily for a segment of the show. So she said, hey, who's out there? It's a birthday. And she knew for sure it was one girl. So that girl came up on stage, and Bella was going to do her. And then someone in the back goes, it was young Estella Detroit was there in the crowd. And she said, hey, can I volunteer somebody else? And Bella's like, certainly. Who else? Whose birthday? And she goes, well, it's this guy's birthday. And she pointed at him. And he had his nice vest on. He's a good-looking fella. And she goes, is it really your birthday? He said, yes. And she goes, well, come on down. And he came down and got a big round of applause. So then Bella was being you on stage and telling the two of them that she was going to take care of them. And she only had one chair on stage. And I'm off in the corner. That was me in the spotlight, losing my religion, and I'm sitting there on a bar stool, and Bella is not talking into the microphone, so it was hard to hear her a little bit for me anyway. I'm an old man. But she starts talking to the lady, and she gives her the chair to lean over, and then she takes the guy, and she goes, oh, man. She starts looking around, and she goes, I don't have another chair for you. I just don't have another chair for you. So I got up. And I walked my bar stool on stage for her to use, for him to lean on. And she goes, no, this has to be done the hard way. And I like a dumb fuck, then have to turn around and take the stool off stage. And I was trying to help. I was trying to be a nice guy. Because, again, she looked for a chair. And she kind of looked helpless.
You're not good at business.
No, I'm terrible at it. Because she's telling him, she's like, yeah. So then she makes him, of course, get down on the floor on his hands and knees and does whatever the fuck she's going to do to him. But I looked like such a dumb fuck. And I walked over and I was furious. I was furiously angry. And I look at Andrew and I go, I am never fucking helping anybody again. Ever. I don't even care if they fucking ask me for a chair. And Andrew's like, I don't know why you're talking to me and why you're this angry about it. And I go, just because. I like turn around, walk away. Because in a room full of people again, for the third time, I was told no. And no, doggy, and hit in the face with a fucking rolled up stripper newspaper and sent back to my fucking cubbyhole. And I was not happy.
Again, you have to remember, much like when you do a comedy bit on stage and someone starts interrupting where you're going because they think they're being helpful. They are being helpful if, in fact, you needed help. That's a bit. And you didn't know it was a bit.
Nope.
So you were trying to be helpful.
Trying to be a gentleman. Yeah, no more.
Trust me, people will say, I need this. I have an act where I pretend and I look at the sound person and I'm like, and one of the sound people cut my music in the middle of my act.
Yeah.
And I just went, you gotta be kidding me. I told you before the show, I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna pretend, just ignore it.
See, no one told me before the show. All I saw was a helpless woman who needed, I saw a damsel in distress.
Because again, they're doing their comedy piece on stage. They don't think someone's going to help them.
I suppose.
I appreciate you being helpful, but...
Never happen again, but good news.
If anyone needs anything, they're going to go, hey, Mike, can you please?
And I will say, I will not be fooled again. I am the who of doormen because I will not be fooled again. Get your own chair. Get your own whatever. I will stand there with the clipboard and pretend to be interested in whatever you're doing, waiting for more naked girls to come up and enjoy myself. Don't be sorry about that. That's awesome. I mean, it's because you know what? We've talked about this before. I've been to other shows that are just lifeless. Your show is not, because it has variety acts. And we've talked about this before when you've asked me to host. I'm like, people don't want me. They want a plate spinner. They want awesome people who go up there and do magic or erudite like our friend Patrick, and because that's what the show should be, and that's why I like your show, because there's like even this week you had Doc and Stumpy on this past week, and they went in and they did like a couple of sketches that were like bang bang with a million jokes in it, that's what you should be doing. That's exactly what you should be doing. If you got me up there telling tales, nobody cares about that. They want to see hot girls. Nobody wants to see me carrying a chair on stage. Nobody wants to see me walking around with a stool in my hand. No. They demand to see ladies. So that's it. From now on, no more. I'm no longer bringing things on stage. But the show went well, even though in your absence, it was run by our friend Bella, who did a fine job, and our friend Glamma and Red. You left it in the capable hands of these fine ladies, and they all did a good job. But you were off doing something important and fun. What were you doing?
What was I doing? Oh, I was doing a podcast. I was doing a video podcast.
A live video podcast. Was it live? Was it streamed live, or is it?
It was streamed live.
There you go.
I didn't know for sure if it was going to happen, or I would have mentioned it so people could tune in.
I see. But now it happened.
It happened.
And it is called?
The Dark Mark Show.
The Dark Mark Show. Is it available on iTunes?
It is available on YouTube.
Whoa. So go to the YouTube and search Dark Mark.
I'm on show number 7.
Show 7, Lucky 7.
Yes. It's also on my Facebook page if you are lucky enough to be my friend.
Oh, and who isn't?
Seriously, if you're not my friend and you've sent me a friend request and you're rating, email me and say, hey, I listened to Mike Schmidt. I have a friend request in. Add me. I will.
And there's a reason for that, because she gets requested to be friends by a lot of pervy, like weird strangers. Yeah. And they all just want to get in there and look at her boobs. Now, look, we all know you want to just get in there and look at her boobs, but at least you know me. So write her an email and say, hey, what?
My boobs are on the Dark Mark podcast, by the way.
Oh, are they? Yeah. Wow. Full on? Pasties. Tassel twirling.
Breast cam dedicated to them.
Good Lord. Why are you even listening to me at this point? Go to YouTube for the Dark Mark Show, folks. See what I see every week when Lily does her tassel twirling while I'm talking to you guys. That's how there we go. Nicely done. I like that face. Was that your tassel twirling face? I don't see that very often.
Actually me mocking somebody else tassel twirling.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was doing.
I was almost like a white man's overbite of tassel twirling.
Awful. I should not have done that.
No, that was good. I enjoyed it. You look like who's SpongeBob's squirrel friend or whatever her name is.
Squirrel.
Is that Susie? Sally?
Susie the squirrel.
Sally the squirrel. I don't know. She lives at the bottom of the sea in an astronaut suit. Who cares? But that's who you look like in the face when you do that. I want to see that again. So go find the Dark Mark Show on YouTube and check out our friend Lily Von Stupp being interviewed and then demonstrating some of the finer points of burlesque. 2 of the finer points of burlesque, if I might add. That's right. So last week's Monday Night Tease was great. Next week's Monday Night Tease, who's there? Who's there this week?
Buster Balloon is hosting. There's a lot of great performers, but there's another of our performers in LA is going to compete at the Burlesque Hall of Fame. Jezebel Thunder will be competing for best debut, so she's going to be running her number one more time before she heads there.
Now, I've talked about Jezebel Thunder on here before, guys, and it is definitely worth going to see the show. And this will be her B-Hoff entry. I'm learning the shorthand.
Yeah.
All right, so this is her Burlesque Hall of Fame number. Go and tell her if it's good or bad or indifferent or needs to be fixed. All right, well, then come check it out.
Run it one more time to feel comfortable.
Cool. Well,
and Tulsa Skull Swingers are performing.
That's our friends Craig Anton. And is Blaine? Blaine's involved too, right? Our friend Blaine Capatch, who, by the way, if you don't follow Blaine Capatch on Twitter, I might want to just follow him at twitter.com/Blaine Capatch. He did a thing a week ago where he ran down Fast and the Furious, and he made like over 100 of them, like different sequels with names. And literally, it was why Twitter was invented, was for Blaine Capatch to do his Fast and the Furious fucking jokes. And I told somebody, because somebody wrote me about him, and I go, you don't understand. He did over 100 jokes, all of them great, in 140 characters or less. That is so difficult to do. So Blaine is hysterical, and the Tulsa Skull Swingers rock. So come and check them out. They're playing after the show this Monday that features Jezebel Thunder and our friend Buster Balloon. Lily, will you be performing?
No.
Which will be in the
I'll
house.
be doing pickup, I think.
You'll be back, which is good.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll be happy to have you there. And you can get all the information for this stuff at MondayNightTees.com. And have all the information regarding the shows, the upcoming performers, the times, the tickets, and go to brownpapertickets.com and search Monday Night Tease or search Lily Von Stupp, and you'll find tickets and be able to purchase them and come on out to the show and visit me at the door saying hello. I'm the first guy you see. I set the tone for your evening, and I smile, and I'm nice, and I give you a wristband. It makes for a pleasant experience, folks. So come and check it out. I love it. I know you will. You can go to facebook.com/the40year-old-boy and be my friend while you're there and be our friend. And our friend David Hernandez, let's talk about David for just a second. If you've ordered artwork, folks, please remember that it is all in the pipeline. We're still trying to get the basement situation all straightened out for our friend David's house. And if you want to see work that David has done or can do, if you want to think about hiring him for some freelance stuff, you can go to artbydmh.com, artbydmh.com. Check out all of his samples, a lot of the stuff he's done for me, a lot of the stuff he's done in other job capacities, and see the amazing work that our friend David does with art. And you know what he can do musically as well. He does that here. So be at facebook.com/David Max Hernandez. You can be his friend while you're there. And I don't have any live stuff to plug on the page. So you're there, just be my friend. And join the Westside 86 Jokers fan club. Do that. That's always out there lurking. We have so many people who are in. I had to cut somebody loose today. I had to kick somebody out of the fan club because they were fake. It was a fake person who then put like some shoes or some diet stuff on the page, and I had to whack them. Facebook is terrible. You got to keep your eye out. I have to remain ever vigilant, folks. But I did. I wound up whacking them after they told everybody how to drink juice and lose weight. Fuck you. Get lost. But go ahead and join the Westside 86 Jokers fan page. It's the Mike Schmidt fan club there at Facebook, and also be my friend while you're there. Follow me on Twitter, as I mentioned. You can go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com. And in the upper left-hand corner of each page, there is a little Schmitty that says donate with his little pocket out. You can click on him and donate to the show. You can make a one-time donation to the show, or you can donate $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, or $25 a month. We had that special offer this past week for people who would donate to the show. Signed up this past week, and you would get the Bridgetown special. Thank you so much. We got so many more new donating type people. People like our friend Maki Ruiz. And our friend Zach came back on board, and Erica, who has driven me to the airport before. All sorts of cool people. So plenty of people signed up to donate monthly this week, and then they got the Bridgetown special, and they loved it. So if you missed it, I'm sorry. But thank you to all the people who went ahead and donated. Should I extend it a week?
Seems crazy.
It does.
No,
we're not extending it a week. You had to be an early adapter, and that was the people who got in last week, and I appreciate it. Thank you, folks. So please enjoy the Bridgetown show. And don't give it to these ne'er-do-wells, these slackers who are bringing up the rear. It was solely meant to go out there for people to listen to the show now and love it. That's me. I'm turning down money, folks. That's why they call me crazyfunnyeddie.com. All right, so... while you're at MikeSchmidtComedy.com, the donating is on every page, but you can go to the Joe Business page for all sorts of things, Mike Schmidt. The Schmitty Comes Alive download, which is me live from the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. And I will tell you, people are writing me. I mentioned this last week. People are writing me to ask me when I'm on or if I'm at the Podcast Festival. I have not been asked yet. So, I don't know if I'm going to be there or not. They're still adding shows. They're not adding shows. You can write them and ask them if I'm on, and then maybe they'll let me know if I am or I'm not. Although, honestly, by them not letting me know that I am, pretty much tells me that I'm not. So, but people have asked because people are traveling into town. I had some people from San Francisco and then some people from Kansas City who were coming to town, and they said, hey, when are you on? And honestly, I have not been asked yet. So if you want to write them and ask, cool. But right now, nothing scheduled. But while you're on the Joe Business page, you can get the Schmitty Comes Alive, which is from last year's Los Angeles Podcast Festival. There is the For the Love of Schmitty single, which is written and performed by our friend David Hernandez, and I'm yelling on it too. We have T-shirts available, not many, but some. We have Red Boys, and also we have some other city T-shirts. If you want to ask me specifically about stuff, a lot of larges, a lot of mediums. I'll tell you that. That was the main concern is people like, what size? Honestly, a lot of mediums. Not a lot of you people out there are mediums. So, but that's what we have. So we got some cities, and I think we've got some extra large Red Boy shirts left as well. Artwork, of course, available. Any of the artwork for the show or any of the explosions of id, those are available, autographed by me and our friend Lily, and of course our friend David Hernandez. And mugs from Zazzle.com for a little bit. Those are going to be discontinued soon. And tweakedaudio.com/40 has been nice enough to offer earbuds and cock ring watches. I don't know. I've been told that they're out of watches, I think. So right now they have autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds, and those are available for you at tweakedaudio.com/40. Thank you to everybody who supported Tweaked, because Tweaked has supported the show for so long. And we sell the download sets of past seasons. Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, Year 4, and Year 5 are now all available individually or together as the UN of Evil box set. You can get the Schmitty, the Mex, the Woj, the Jimmy O, the Evil Dennis, or all of them combined. Those are available right now. And if you do order a Year 5, tweakedaudio.com/40 will provide you with free earbuds. If you order a UN of Evil box set, tweakedaudio.com/40 will offer you 2 sets of earbuds or 1 set of earbuds and a 50% discount code for anything available on their website. So go ahead and order those today. I will shoot them out to you momentarily, and you will enjoy them, and then Tweak will send you your stuff. It's a whole cottage industry. We got everybody scratching each other's back. You guys scratch my back, I'll scratch Tweak's back, and tweakedaudio.com/40 will scratch your back with a thick hand full of autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds. That's right, I said a thick hand. That hand is thick in all the right places. I want that hand to throw up a casual encounters ad on Craigslist. Maybe I go meet that hand. I'm very interested in a thick hand these days. All right, I got to go. I'm going to take Lily for ice cream and then go eat. I told you, where I'm at, folks. I'm eating all the stuff in my house, so I'm kind of trying to, I'm eating cans of soup and black-eyed peas and whatever the fuck else Karen had put in the cabinet and didn't take. And I ate some frozen fried rice, so it was awful, so nasty. It was literally just like a salt lick, so terrible. And then but I love rice. Like I love actual rice. So, but she took the rice cooker, which we've talked about. So I actually have to try to cook it on the stove now. So I've made it on the stove a few times and it comes out okay. But I don't, it's all running out. And when the rice runs out, I'm going to be so disappointed, right? So I'm in my house the other day and I was going to take a shower. So I open up the shower and I lean over and I turn on the faucet and my cell phone falls out of my shirt into the toilet. And I fucking lose it because I cannot afford to replace my phone. I mean, I can't. So I immediately grab it, and it wasn't a nasty toilet. It was just a regular clean. Everything was fine. There was nothing in there, just water. But it might have been in there for 2 seconds. But it fell out. It was that thing where I was leaning, so I couldn't grab it, and I was like, oh, it's sploop, and the water splashes up, and I reached in and I fucking grabbed it, and I don't know what to do at that point, right? Because well, all right, here's the thing. I do know what to do at that point because this has happened to me before. I go running into the kitchen. The last of my rice. And I even laughed out loud when I saw it because I ran in there because that's what you're supposed to put it in rice and it's supposed to dry it out. I burst into the kitchen. I look and it's just sitting there in a glass container like on the and I'm like, ha ha ha, of course. And I had to open it up and I put the phone in a bowl and I covered it with rice and I packed it all in there and I had to leave it in there for 2 days. This is the second time I've had to do that. So the good news is it completely worked. Like my phone is perfect. There's no problem with it at all. Because you're supposed to leave it in there for at least 12 and you turn it off too. And you leave it in for 12 hours. And so I was without a phone, which was a drag. But fucking the last of my rice. Like the last, I thought of some poor person in Bangladesh having to make the same choice. Just bursting in. They're so poor. Their children are starving. There's dysentery throughout the house. And their iPhone, of course, they have them in Bangladesh. Their iPhone fell into a dysentery-filled pond, and they had to run into the kitchen. They're like, oh, so terrible for the family, but I must be able to check Google in my car. And they jammed the fucking phone into the rice. It was so awful. I was just like, this is what it's come to. On my fucking final coup de grace, I have to put my $1,000 computer into the last of my, and I can't even afford to replace the $1.30 of rice that I had to use to try to save it. Fucking unbelievable. What a fucking sad life. And I'm just going, oh man, if this was in fucking Myanmar, the choice they would have to make is their fucking cell phone fell out into a pool of animal blood that they had just slaughtered for their Santeria rituals. And they were like, oh no! And they burst into their kitchen and they stepped over the corpses of their children and they went, oh, I don't know if I can use the last of the rice. However, it is very important that I check my IMDb when I am driving in my canoe. And they thrust it in and they ruined the rest. I'm human lunch meat. I'm nobody. I'm baloney in pants. God damn it. Why do I think I'm somebody special? Why do I think I'm anybody interesting? I'm not. All I bring to the table is everything that everybody else does, but louder. Don't hit snooze on me, motherfucker. I am a hilarious noise machine. I'm going to tell you this. You need to sit down and reevaluate your life if you can pull 2 midget Indian wrestlers out of your skull at any time. You know what? I don't even need you people here. Seriously, I do this. I love me. I don't give a fuck what you think, how you think. God damn it, I'm the greatest. can't go for Schmidt. No. No can do. 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 No can do.